What if I told you that the biggest threat to scaling your business is not your competition, it's not the market conditions, and it's even not your product? What if the one thing that is keeping you from the clients that you want, the revenue, the influence that you deserve, is something that you're doing unconsciously every single day? I'm talking about playing small. And I don't mean lacking the ambition or even the vision. Most entrepreneurs are far from this. What I'm talking about is brilliant founders who undercharge for their expertise, who avoid the spotlight that builds their authority, and who wait for their businesses to be perfect before they claim their space in the market. They wait till they create the incredible value that nobody sees because they're basically being invisible. And here's what nobody tells you about playing small as an entrepreneur: it doesn't just limit your current opportunities, it actively undermines your market position. Because when you constantly undervalue yourself, when you hide your expertise behind safe messaging, when you avoid the visibility that builds industry authority, you're not protecting yourself from failure. You're actually guaranteeing market invisibility. And in today's economy, invisible businesses don't scale, they barely survive. So, we're going to dig deeper in this episode. We're talking about what playing small really costs your business, why even successful entrepreneurs fall into this trap sometimes, and most importantly, what happens when you stop. Because I've seen what's possible when talented business owners finally decide to take up the space that their expertise deserve. And it changes everything.
This is Let's Make Waves podcast. I'm your host, Rana Al Basri Marwad, and I believe that we're all here to make waves. I created this podcast to help you build your brand by sharing with you tools, resources, and strategies to gain professional authority for better business opportunities. If you want to get unstuck, you've come to the right place. Let's get started.
Welcome to another episode of Let's Make Waves podcast. It's a new season and I'm really excited to be here. Thank you for joining me. And this, if you're new here, this is a show that we usually talk about what authentic influence and creating a business reputation that you deserve looks like. My name is Rana Al Basri Maawad. I'm a communication strategist who has spent 25 plus years helping entrepreneurs stop hiding their brilliance and stop hiding behind safe strategies. Today's episode is both a love letter, if I can say that, and a gentle confrontation, a gentle reminder. Because what I want to talk about today is something that is a trap that a lot of entrepreneurs, we all fall into it. What I want to ask you today is something very direct. What could happen if you stopped playing small in your business? For real, stopped playing small. It's not just about marketing strategies. It's not about your networking, but it is how you position those expertise that you have and how you communicate your value and how you build the kind of industry reputation that makes your clients seek you instead of you chasing them or instead of them seeking your competitor. Stick with me because I am going to dive deeper and explore why playing small from a communication perspective is actually very, very risky for your business and what you can do about it today and what are the tactics that you can start with right now. Okay, so what does playing small actually looks like for entrepreneurs? Let's start by getting clear on what we're actually talking about here. We're talking about when we say playing small, I'm not referring to entrepreneurs who lack the vision or who lack the drive. Most business owners that I've worked with are incredibly talented. They're deeply committed to their business, they're deeply committed to their mission, and they genuinely want to make an impact in their industry, or at least an impact for their clients or their prospects. But here's what I've noticed when we kind of dig deeper during the first sessions. Most of them are usually, if I can use the word, afraid of something, and that is visibility. And visibility is not just being out there in social media. It's sometimes visibility because of something much deeper, uncomfortable with visibility because of market rejection. The fear shows up in very specific ways that absolutely can kill their market positioning over time. So, playing small in your business looks like this. It looks like underpricing your offers. You charge what you think people will pay instead of what you can deliver in terms of the transformation. So, what your transformation is actually worth. So, you underprice your offer. You position yourself as an affordable instead of a premium because you're scared that clients will walk away. So, that's one way of looking at it. Another way is by avoiding industry visibility. So basically, you skip on speaking opportunities, you ditch going on podcasts, you avoid panel discussions because you're very worried that you don't have either something unique to say or you believe that you're an introvert and it's something that might impact you negatively or impact your reputation negatively. Another way of not showing up for yourself is by waiting for perfection in the business. And this is when so many entrepreneurs, and I see this happen, where you spend months and months tweaking the website or tweaking the offer or changing things, sometimes changing simple things, procrastinating on font colors and on images, okay, on landing pages, instead of getting things out there to your clients. You basically delay launches, delay the programs until you kind of figured it out or figured every single possible objection. The fourth way of not showing up is by playing it safe in your messaging. And this is a really, really important point because your content, whether it is written, whether it is spoken, on any platform, social media, your website, your landing pages, your sales pages, your content is helpful, but it's actually forgettable. So basically, you share generic business tips instead of contrarian insights. You sound like everyone else in your industry, and you're kind of in this trap where you don't know how you can put yourself or use the right messaging to stand out. Another and final thing, a way to kind of not show up small for your business is basically you hiding behind your business instead of leading your business. And I say this basically to mean that you talk about, you say we when actually it's you, the leader. Okay. So you avoid personal branding because you think it is egotistical. You think that it could be a way that you're showing off. And you let your business become kind of anonymous because it becomes faceless. It becomes like a faceless business. It's like any other business. Now, here's what's particularly dangerous about all of that, all of these examples that I gave, is that when you play small, it feels responsible. So you kind of feel good. This is the trick. Playing small makes you, as the entrepreneur, feel good. You feel like, wait a minute, I'm being responsible. I'm being humble. I am trying to focus on the product or the service that I'm giving. And that's the right thing to do. So it feels smart. It feels like it's risk averse. And this is not the way to build a business because from a market positioning or from a market standpoint, it's very close to a business suicide. And I use this really specifically, this word, because I want you to think about this. We are in a world now where your ideal client has endless options out there. Their attention is scarce, it's scattered. There's so many resources out there. So as a result, their decision when they're coming to take a decision, when they want to take the next step, it's kind of overwhelming because there's so many choices out there. So You cannot afford to be forgettable. Forgettable is not safe because it simply means that you're invisible. And invisible businesses don't get referred, don't get chosen, and don't become top of mind. They don't get the premium clients. They don't get the right opportunities that transforms their businesses. It just doesn't happen. Let me talk about, I want to give you an example, and it's about a client of mine, one of my clients. Now, this client of mine is a brilliant business consultant, and he is incredible. He has an incredible strategic mind. He has great frameworks. It actually helps companies think differently when it comes to growth. Okay. And he was doing great, but he was stuck at the same revenue level for a couple of years, around a couple of years. And all this time, while his revenue level was stagnant, he was watching less experienced consultants build businesses around him. Why? Because he was positioning himself as just another consultant, just another business consultant. He didn't intentionally do that, but all of his communication kind of pointed to that direction. He prefaced all of his insights with, this might apply to you, but it doesn't apply to everybody. He priced his expertise like a commodity, instead of a transformation. So he kind of commoditized his expertise and his services, not just his offers. And although he was brilliant, and truly he was brilliant, or he is he is brilliant, he was actually invisible. Even though, if you really look at the results that he has done for the companies that he has worked with, they were exceptional. Now, when we first started working together, I had to audit his market presence from a communication perspective. And what we found that he was systemically undermining his own authority. Not because he lacked confidence in his methods or his systems. He had a proven track record of excellence, but it's because he was, if I can use the word, terrified of being seen as arrogant. He was uncomfortable to communicate in a way that made him sound certain and that made him sound senior in terms of his experience. It was just uncomfortable for him. And that was the hidden cost that he was paying. He's playing small as an entrepreneur. That was the hidden cost behind his stagnation. It's not that he was missing out on opportunities only, it's that the market stopped from seeing him as someone who was ready, or who was in a position to create new opportunities or to receive new opportunities. So let's move on to the important points here. Even when you are successful, it's that means you've been doing things for a long time, and I'm sure you've heard this before. What got you here might not will not get you there. What got you to this point might not take you to the next point, something like that. So now that we understand, okay, what does playing small look like, and what is the impact of playing small looks like, let's talk about why does this happen. Because understanding the psychology behind playing small is really crucial for breaking this pattern, especially if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a founder, where visibility actually directly impacts your revenue. And I'm talking specifically about service providers here because it does directly impact your revenue. Now, in my experience, entrepreneurs who play small do that for three core reasons, if I can say that. And these three core reasons are kind of universal. It can happen to anybody and everybody at a certain point in their business journey. The first point that I would like to talk about is the like if we want to dig deeper into into the human thought behind it, one of it is the feeling like you're too much, like you're too salesy, or you're being just too much, cringe feeling. The idea of bold positioning, or charging premium products, premium prices, or claiming thought leadership status, it feels inauthentic to them. It feels pushy to them because they know they are thought leaders in their industry, but there's this gap between how do they feel and how the experience, what is their experience, and the gap between that and between communicating. So here's what I want you to understand when it comes to communication in business. Too much does not mean memorable. So being too much, that does not mean that you become memorable, because entrepreneurs who scale aren't necessarily the ones who are um, technically skilled or the most technically skilled. They are usually the ones who communicate their value most effectively, and they communicate it on a consistent manner. Okay, so that's the point about the first misconception, or the first, like, if we look at it from a human psychology, as an entrepreneur, as a founder, like, oh God, I don't want to be too much. The second one is about market judgment and the competition. And this, we're going to dig a little bit deeper. Now, this is something like someone or a founder thinking, what if competitors criticize my approach? What if my potential clients think that I'm overcharging? What if I take a position that kind of alienates me or alienates part of the market that I am seeking? And these are, mind you, these are valid business concerns. Okay, so that's why we're digging a bit deeper. These are valid points, but they're also growth limiting points, or growth limiting beliefs, because the alternative of positioning yourself is basically risking being too safe, and therefore becoming a commodity, your services becoming a commodity. So think about the business leader that you most respect in your industry. And I can guarantee you that they've taken a public position about certain things. They've shared controversial insights, or okay, occasionally they were wrong about a certain market prediction, but they are open to discussing certain things even when they are wrong publicly. Okay, so it is not despise their success that they can do certain things. Actually, their success is because of them doing these things. So, market authority, it's not built about being right 100% all the time, because even the people that you admire, they're not right 100% of the time. Nobody is. There are certain things and certain insights that sometimes you don't see in the market. You don't see it so clearly, so you cannot do all of your predictions correctly, or all of your opinions would be correct. It is basically about this market, people with good market authority. It is basically built by the consistency in adding value to the industry conversation. It's by having the courage to share a unique perspective, and by demonstrating that thought leadership, even when it feels uncomfortable, and even when sometimes they don't get it right. Okay, so that's the second point. And the third and last point is that a lot of founders think about success and its consequences. Okay, so like if there's success, there's certain consequences to the success. And this is something that kind of took me by surprise a few years ago. um, took me by surprise because it was also a personal experience. Okay, and this is something that it is much more common actually than we really think it is. So let me go into it. Sometimes it is scarier to think about success than it is to think about stagnation and what can happen next. Okay. So when you become the go-to expert, when you're in high demand, when you're expected to deliver the premium level that you want, that you deliver in your business consistently, success changes your business and it brings a higher level of expectation. So higher or bigger responsibility and obviously more visibility. And for some people, they're if they are uncomfortable with the visibility, something like this makes them extremely uncomfortable, and that's why it becomes like a default to become a small player, because all of that would feel overwhelming. And I know that some people might not agree with this and they like, no, it's not true, but truly, honestly, um everybody wants to build a business and they want the business to be successful, but there are certain ceilings that they kind of project or see in the future, because above that it becomes uncomfortable for them. So there's so many founders, so many business owners, that ceiling is their comfort zone and they kind of stay in that comfort zone for a long time. Now that might not be your current experience, and it's not like this is a checklist you have to check it all to know that you're playing small. Could be one of those points, but this is a point that a lot of founders actually feel. And here's the thing: scaling is the only path to the kind of business impact that most entrepreneurs want. So, scaling a business with the goals that a lot of entrepreneurs have, scaling is the best path to get there. The interesting clients, the meaningful projects, the industry influence. This happens with scaling. Okay. Because in the beginning of any person who starts a business, they don't start with success. They start by by trial and error. And that kind of scaling is not comfortable for everybody. And that's why there are certain people who would play small. So this is what some kind of psychological thinking that happens with a lot of founders. And we need to, I'm putting it here on the table so that if anyone is feeling that, I just want to say it's so common and it's very normal, and there is a way around it. It's like it's one of those things that certain habits that you build will kind of counter do it, and certain tricks and strategies that you do in communication would kind of make you overtake these kind of feelings or these kind of thoughts. Okay, so let's discuss the business reputation compound effect. Okay, so now that I've explained why certain fears aren't just limiting the current opportunities that you might have, but sometimes that certain fears make the founder themselves or the entrepreneur themselves actively damage their long-term market position. Now that we've done this kind of groundwork of understanding it, let's look at how the reputation can have a compounding effect. Okay, so your business reputation as a business owner, so your personal brand, your business reputation is built through client interaction. So it's an in-person, not just an online thing. Okay, so it's client interaction. It's every piece of content that you communicate, whether through social, through your website, through your sales pages, whatever it is. Every kind of opportunity that you take, or the opportunities that you selectively avoid. So this kind of builds your reputation. It's your values, it's your expertise, it's who you are, right? So when you consistently play small, you're not just missing on these individual chances to share your expertise, but you're actually training the market and you're training prospects to see you as a small player. All right. This, as a result, will make you undercharge, or you kind of signal your work being not premium. And when you avoid industry visibility, you also signal that you don't have the right or the unique expertise that is required. So you basically shrink an important business conversation and you kind of signal that you are a leader, but you're not a market leader in your field. And that's a cruel irony because these kind of signals compound over time. And the opposite also compounds over time. So the more you play small, the smaller the opportunities. The more you be yourself and you play to your strengths, the bigger the opportunities. Okay? So this is how the reputation compounds over time. Okay, so what happens is that you get stuck into the commodity loop. All right. So you kind of fear premium positioning because that would lead to certain behavior by the community that you're targeting. And it also reinforces the belief that playing smart is safer. Meanwhile, the less experienced and the more visible competitor is building their reputation, their industry authority, their thought leadership, and positioning themselves as the go to expert. Okay. So you have to see that reputation compounds over time. Either it compounds negatively or it compounds positively. Okay. So now that we've got this out of the way, let's talk about what happens when entrepreneurs stop playing small. Okay. Now, now that we can flip the script, okay? So, what actually happens when you decide to stop playing small in your business? When you commit to building a market reputation that reflects your true capabilities. Now, I've seen it. I've worked with great founders who've done that transformation, and the results are consistently remarkable. And it's not because they become different people. No, not at all. It is because they actually finally start positioning themselves as who they truly and actually are in this market space. If we want to increase our revenue and if we want to scale in a very sustainable manner, and if we want to work with really valuable clients who actually appreciate and respect our expertise, and if we want to position ourselves in the marketplace as the experts that we are, all of this happens when you align your market positioning to your actual capabilities. And this happens through certain business shifts that can change everything. So, based on my work with so many founders and entrepreneurs, here are 5 shifts that happen when business owners stop playing small. Okay, so shift number 1 is you start communicating your value instead of your features. So, this is where there are no more listing of what you do. Okay, you start articulating the transformation that you provide and the problems that you solve and the outcomes that you create for your clients instead of the job title or the expertise that you have. It is not the title that can position you. It's actually what you do and what kind of change or impact that you do that makes people listen. So that's the first shift. You start communicating value instead of features. The second shift is when you price based on the value, not the market average. And here I want to be really specific. I'm not saying not to do your market research and see what are the pricing spectrum within the expertise that you are offering. This is not what I'm saying. But what specifically I am kind of focusing on is that when you decide on a price, it has to be relevant to the value that you are creating. It's not an average that you just want to make sure, like I have an average out there and I want to be relatable. No, put your pricing based on your value. So basically, you charge and you start putting your prices based on the results that you deliver and the problems that you solve. Okay. So you're not charging like everybody else. You charge based on what you deliver. Okay. And that kind of shifts the perspective of the commoditization that might happen with your services or with your work. All right. The third shift is to attract opportunities instead of chasing the opportunities. And this happens when you build a reputation for on a specific expertise that you have, and you build it by being laser focused in your communication about the kind of expertise that you leverage and you can help your clients with. So when you laser focus your communication on specific expertise, when you laser focus your communication on very specific results or transformations that you do, the clients start seeking you. Okay, so this is when referrals starts to increase, inbound inquiries start to improve, partnerships start to kind of develop naturally, because when you become specific, people can pinpoint exactly what you are an expert in. Your expertise might be a list of things, but when you laser focus on the two or three specific experiences that you can help in changing or doing that transformation for your clients, people can know what you are kind of specialized in. Okay, and the fourth shift that I would like to talk about is you feel energized by your business presence. So let me explain that. Instead of entrepreneurship or being a business owner feeling like it's a constant self promotion, or you get to always it is something that you have to always feel salesy, you need to talk about it a lot. So instead of that kind of mindset, shift the mindset into, oh my God, I get to share my expertise. I get to genuinely get excited about something and share my excitement with people who are interested in what I do or who are interested in working with me. It is not something that you are faking, but it's something that is really authentic, because as business owners, at one point, this was something really exciting for us. And sometimes in the woods and the thicks of building a business, we kind of lose it and it's very stressful. But it's just bringing that, always reminding ourselves, bringing that kind of energy back. It is very authentic to the purpose that made you become a business owner. And also, so other than the authenticity part, it is also more sustainable. Okay. And the fifth and last shift that I want to talk about is you become a market maker instead of a taker. Okay. So I know that rhymes, but it was not meant to be like that. It just came out. Okay. So, and this is a big one. All right. So when you stop playing small, you don't just participate in your industry, you actually start influencing it without you even knowing it sometimes in the beginning, but it kind of snowballs. All right, so you create conversations, you start setting certain standards, you discuss things that for you are for you are frameworks that are successful, and that bring the results that is wanted. So your standards, you get to set certain standards, you start setting or defining best practices, and that all of that together will kind of have a compounding effect of actual authentic market positioning. Here's what particularly powerful about doing all of those shifts. All right, other than you stop playing small, the small game in business, but you actually start benefiting from those compounded effect exponentially. All right, so there's this thing that my personal trainer told me a long time ago, and I was telling him how frustrated I was about the results, and he said, listen, if you're consistent and you do these certain things, so the shifts, okay, in month one nobody will notice except you, but you're going to start noticing the difference. By two, your close circle will start knowing and noticing the difference. By month three, everyone will start noticing the difference. So I wanted to share that so I could tell you it's exactly the same with the compounding effect. In the first month or so, you will start being um, you'll start actually being positioned differently. Okay, your peers, your closer peers will notice. Okay, by month two, the circle will grow, and by month three, you're going to get invited to certain opportunities that you never maybe thought of or considered before, or nobody considered you in those opportunities before. You start having certain conversations with other people. The circle is going to be much bigger than month one. By month six, your network has expanded in such a way that people actually will start seeing you as someone who is worth knowing, worth partnering with, worth connecting with. And trust me, within a year, month 12, you're not just going to get better clients, you're actually going to attract who you want to work with, and your clients will actually become advocates for your business. And this will just compound. By year two, you're going to build a much stronger market reputation. Your reputation will actually precede you. Potential clients will know you by name. Your work could be like a certain methodology that people might use, or terminologies that you use that other people might use. Your results before and then by then would be on a totally different level. It's a different kind of level of conversation. And that is the power of the authentic business positioning. That's the power of the authentic personal brand positioning. It's not about becoming someone that you are not. This is not what a personal brand is. This is not how people build reputation. It is about finally showing the market who you actually are as an entrepreneur. So, I want to share with you specific strategies that can work for almost any type of business, regardless of the industry size or regardless of your current visibility level. All right. So, these strategies are not theoretical. They are based on what I have seen work for other business owners or founders or entrepreneurs, and what I've seen consultants or coaches or even small agencies scale by using these strategies. So the first one is to start. Okay, day one, you need to audit your business positioning. You need to audit your personal brand positioning, and you need to kind of go through all of the communication that you use and that is also being out there for your business. And you need to see where exactly is there in the lingo, in the context that is putting you or positioning you like you're playing small. So where can you pay attention to um, details like how do you describe your business, whether it is on your podcast, how do you describe your expertise, how do you describe your transformation, your kind of work, your frameworks, all of that. Pay attention to the details, to the language, to the wording that you use. If it's generic positioning, like I help businesses with marketing, that's very generic. Or whether it is, wording that minimizes the results that you've got. If you're kind of for yourself, you're hiding behind modesty, okay, or in the language that you have, it's kind of apologetic when it comes to your pricing, you over explain. Okay, once you've noticed these patterns, start changing them using the right wording, okay, using the right shifts, and start practicing it also. And take that shift into the kind of like authority positioning. So be very specific about who you serve, who you are, and clear about the problems that you solve, the transformation that you create, and be more confident in your language also about the results that you've delivered in the past. It's not arrogance. These are real results. It's just about being clear. So think of it. It's not arrogance, it's clarity. Because when you position yourself and your business with authority, the right potential clients will get informed into the type of business or the type of expert that you are and what your business delivers. Okay. So that would be the first strategy that you can do effective immediately. The second one is to basically identify and own your unique positioning. And what do I mean about that is basically a lot of founders, okay? A lot of founders, when they're playing small, they're not very clear on what makes them unique, what makes their value unique within the market space. They either they use certain language that makes them or positions them as someone or their business is a business that can be easily interchanged. Okay. So you're not. So be very specific on the combination of your experience, your methodology, your results, your expertise, your personality, all of that. Be very specific so that you can put it together and create the right communication where it shows your unique positioning. So ask yourself some questions. Ask yourself, what kind of problems do I solve that others in the industry don't solve? Or I solve it in a different methodology, or my approach is very unique to me. What kind of results have I achieved that kind of demonstrate how valuable it is and it's distinctive to me? What do clients always privately tell me? And what do they privately say when we work together? That is also unique to me. So once you get all of that clarified, you can actually, when you communicate it, you can position yourself in that unique value proposition. You are communicating in your website, in your content, in your sales conversations, in your networking, in all of that, that you're not just another business coach. You're not just another consultant. You're not just another designer. Strategy number 3 is to take one bold market facing action every single week. Okay. So knowledge is great, but knowledge is not enough to help you in your positioning and to help you scale your business or grow it or just push it off the stagnation. Knowledge without action is basically entertainment. Okay. It's just noise. So here is what I would like you to think about. You identify one bold action that you can take this week that will help you increase your market visibility. And it's a very simple thing. You don't have to overcomplicate it. It could be like something that you haven't done before. It's bold for you. Could be publishing an article, sharing a contrarian take on your industry or an industry trend. You can reach out to a podcast within your industry and see if you can be hosted as a guest. You can post case studies from your existing clients that showcase or demonstrates your unique methodology or your unique frameworks. You can seek certain opportunities like an online community where you can have the opportunity to speak to that particular community within your industry. Market visibility, we're not talking about going viral or like grand gestures. It's not about that. It's about being consistent. So it's once a week, just have that kind of goal. Once a week or once every other week, be consistent and showing up in a way that positions you as an expert and showing up in a way that might feel uncomfortable but actually builds your not only your visibility, but builds your positioning. Personal brand, building your market reputation, it has to be a system that is within your communication strategy, because most successful entrepreneurs, that even the people that I've worked with, they understand that becoming a market authority, it is a system. Okay, it's not an accident, it's a system. It's something that is intentional. It's something that we need to put an effort in. It's a something that kind of takes you into what conversations that you can lead. It takes you into how do you how are the what are the different possibilities for you to share your expertise. Like, how can you do that? Do you document? You can share case studies. Do you teach your approach, your approach or your style? Like, there are different ways of how you share those expertise. And also, what kind of opportunities that you can pursue, and what kind of things out there that you actually need to say no to, so that you can build that reputation, and being consistent and enforcing that particular positioning with certain interactions that help you to do that particular positioning. So when you approach the market position in a system, in a repetitive form, inconsistently, you stop leaving it to chance. You stop leaving it to random opportunities. It kind of changes. It becomes more controlled. And you're not just hoping for better clients to show up. You're actually creating the conditions that will attract them into your business. Before I close, I really hope that this episode helps you to create the space for yourself to rise for you. You create a platform where you can show your authentic authority in your industry, because you're doing that anyway. You can demonstrate your expertise because you do have them, but you demonstrate them because you are bold about your positioning, and you're kind of showcasing your unique value proposition in such a way that you kind of outperform your competitors. So here's my challenge for you: not just to stop playing small in your business, but to actually start today. Start with how you position yourself. Start with how do you want to show up within your industry. Your market needs you and needs the offers that you are giving, but it also needs you to have the voice that is not diluted, and it's not like the safe version. So if you're ready to build a market reputation that scales your business, so to build your personal brand reputation that can positively impact your business instead of limiting it, I would really love to know if this particular episode helped you in kind of having that reframed and that shift of thinking. And with that, I would like to say thank you so much for joining me today. If this episode has been helpful for you and you think it could help someone else, I really hope that you can share it. Please don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. If you're on YouTube, a like and a subscription, I would be really grateful. And if you're if you're listening to me on a podcasting platform, I really hope that you have the time to leave a review. And I will see you in the next episode of Let's Make Waves podcast. Don't forget to keep making waves. Bye for now.